Now, we've all heard Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses a million times over by now, but unless you've ever listened really closely to Slash's original isolated guitar track, you probably never noticed a handful of really cool licks that he's hiding throughout this song. So on today's installment of Weekend Wankshop, we're going to be taking a look at the 5 sick licks you probably never noticed in this classic tune. Well, hey there kids, and welcome to another installment of Weekend Wankshop. Here's your best buddy, Uncle Ben. Any of you guys that have watched my channel here for a while know that one of my favorite things to do is to find isolated guitar tracks from hit tunes here on YouTube and dig through them to try to make the most accurate transcriptions of stuff possible. And every now and then as I'm going through a song, I'll find some stuff that really surprised me that I just never noticed before, even if it's in a song that I've heard a million times, like Welcome to the Jungle. Now, there's not really a lot of isolated Guns N' Roses tracks floating around out there, but thankfully because of its inclusion in the Guitar Hero series of games, you can find individual tracks for pretty much everything on Welcome to the Jungle. That includes Slash's track, which is what we're going to be talking about today, as well as Izzy's track. After I found Slash's isolated track and gave it a listen, I was really surprised to hear how many cool licks he slipped into the second and third verses of the song, as well as one really weird part that is completely buried in the mix during the end of the breakdown section towards the end of the song. I've not seen any lessons or tabs on any of these licks, so I figured it'd be a perfect thing to cover on an episode of Weekend Wankshop. And as always, you guys can find tabs for all these licks over on my Instagram page at BenEllerGuitars. You can search for hashtag Weekend Wankshop 208. Be sure to give me a follow over there, learn these hot licks, and upload a video of yourself shredding through them, along with hashtag
Weekend Wankshop.
And as usual with Guns N' Roses stuff, you're going to be tuned down a half step to play along with this lesson. Just tune down E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat, and you'll be ready to go. So the first lick that we're going to be talking about today comes in during the second verse of the song, about 1 minute and 8 seconds in. And before we start talking about the individual licks themselves, I want to point out one thing, which is that Izzy's way of playing the verse rhythm part and Slash's way of playing that same part are very different from each other. I just want you guys to keep in mind that we're talking about Slash's part today. The way that Izzy plays the verse is a lot more loose and sits on top of the bass guitar a lot more. Sounds approximately like this. Again, real loose, real rock and roll, you know. Whereas the way that Slash plays it is a little bit more 16th note based and single string. It usually sounds approximately like this. Now, usually that first note he hits 3 times, I would say most of the time. But every now and then he hits it 4. So just keep in mind that anytime I'm playing that riff during this song, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4. The licks are the main focus of what we're talking about today. So just wanted to point that out because I know somebody in the comments would bust my balls about it. But hey, it's free content, y'all. You get what you pay for. Enjoy. Now the very first one, again, comes in here at about 1 minute and 8, and I've got it queued up here on the isolated track. This is going to be coming out of the first chorus of the tune. You'll hear him play that little walk up to it like that. And then listen close to this lick. I never noticed it before. Like, what was that, right? Again, I never noticed that in the original recording. So he's playing the verse. And then we have that lick right there. Now what this is me starting off here on the low E string here on 5. And I'm going to hit that about 4 times. Down, up in the right hand. Then come down here to the 3rd fret. And then you have the lick, which is based around the A blues scale. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to slide into the 7 on the D. Then play the 5 on the D. Then on the A string here I'm going to walk down. I'm going to play 7, 6, 5, sliding to 3. And then on the low E string here, play 5 and 3. Okay, so it's... Play it again kind of slow. This is immediately followed by the second lick that I never noticed. So this is verse number 2, lick number 2. And this comes into the track at about 1 minute and 12. This is right after the part we just talked about. Check this out. That's a really cool one. Let's hear it again. Again, never noticed that in the original recording. And what we got going on right there sounds something like this. Pretty cool, and again, I'd never noticed that before. So he's playing the verse part, and then we get to this right here. Okay, this is some fancy stuff here taking place around the 3rd, 4th, and 5th frets. Now I'm going to be playing the low E string here on 5, 4 times. And then you got to play the 3rd fret A, hammering to 4. Come back up and play that 5th low E. Okay, so it's... You get that kind of classic thing where the root note's A, then you have the minor 3rd and the major 3rd. That classic bluesy kind of sound, you know? Then you got to play the 5 on the A, then back to the low E string here. 2 of those on the 5th fret, okay? Then you're going to do that 3rd to 4th hammer on again. That's kind of the low portion of the lick. Then what you're going to do is to slide into the 7 on the D, then play the 5 on the D, hammering to 6. Now that note right there against A is a major 7, which is really weird. But what it leads into is the kind of second section of the verse, which starts on E. So when he lands on this G sharp note, it's actually the 3rd of the E chord that he's kind of setting up for. Really cool lick. So again, it sounds something like this. One of those ones that'll really help you get those rolls with that ring finger. Now the next 2 licks in the tune that you probably never noticed before take place in the 3rd verse of the song. So this is coming out of that very first guitar solo that you hear. It's about 1:50 into the song. This first one here is probably the most challenging hidden lick in the tune that I had never heard before. It sounds something like this. It's pretty cool. It's kind of a sequenced kind of thing. He doesn't usually dabble with those kinds of ideas in his licks and stuff, but it sounds really cool. Let's hear it again. That's cool. So what he's doing right there is he's playing the verse, and then this lick, which is kind of a descending 4s idea. Really, really cool thing. Now this is all walking down the A blues scale again, and what we're going to do is to start off by sliding into the 7D, 5D, then you're going to play 2 notes on the A string here, 7 and 6. Okay? Next grouping is going to play 5D, and then 3 notes here on the A string, 7, 6, 5. So now you have the first 2 phrases. And that's all just straight alternate picked over here in the picking hand. The next phrase is this. So this is me playing the 6 on the A, 5, sliding to 3, and then play the 5 on the E. Okay? And then this. Again, that bluesy minor 3rd, major 3rd thing again. I'm playing the 5 on the A, 5 on the E, 3 on the A, 4 on the A. Okay? So it sounds like, again, it's hard to tell really at the speed that it goes by, but it sounds like there's only 1 slide in that entire thing and the rest of it's all picked. Pretty challenging. Now the next lick that we're going to talk about here takes place right after that. So again, this is in verse number 3. It's about 1:56 into the song. Check this out. It's definitely an overdub. You can hear the tone is like a little different. It's a little bit louder. This is definitely where they kind of cut in. You can hear the old track kind of crossfade out under it too. It's really loose and sloppy. Check it out. Right? Let's hear it again. There's a lot of like open string noise and stuff ringing out there, but as near as I can tell, it sounds like it's something like this. Now what you're going to do right there is to start off on the 3rd fret low E string to 5th, and then do a little trill, just meaning some rapid hammer-ons and pull-offs from the 3 to the 4 on the A. Again, that's that minor 3rd, major 3rd thing against A right there, real bluesy. No specific number, just kind of trill as fast as you can. And then the next part is like this. Okay, kind of a classic fast pentatonic lick. Sliding into the 7 on the A, then you got to go to the D string here. 5, hammer to 7, pull back off to 5. Okay, so that's... Then you're going to go back and play that 7th A, 5th D again. So now you got this. And then you're going to do another trill here. This is 5 to 6 on the G. which again is that same minor major third thing you did down here. So the whole thing overall, I think, sounds something like this. So the third verse of the tune with its 2 hidden licks sounds something like this. So the last lick that we're going to talk about today, I totally could not believe was even in the song whenever I heard this for the first time. And even if you listen super close on the original mix, it's inaudible. I still can't really hear it. This comes up about 3 minutes and 38 seconds into the tune at the end of that breakdown section, which has like a million guitar overdubs on it. Basically what you're going to hear is you're going to hear the harmony part on the little descending chromatic part. And then listen to this crazy dramatic, it sounds like a silent movie era villain like tying a woman to the train tracks or something like that. This diminished chord ascending thing going on. Check this out. It's right here. Again, I never in a million years would have heard that in the mix. It's really strange. I think it's actually 2 guitars that are overdubbed on top of each other that are playing like minor third harmonies, you know, typical of diminished chords. But if you want to play all those notes on one guitar, here's how you're going to do it. So spooky sounding. Now, what I've got right here is a full diminished 7 chord. And a lot of guitar players I see, you know, have trouble remembering like diminished chord shapes and stuff. They're not really that hard. Check this out. I'm on the top 4 strings of the guitar. I'm playing what essentially feels like a D chord kind of shape, right? That little, you know, 2-3-2 kind of D chord shape. Only I'm playing it on the wrong strings and on the wrong frets, okay? So just imagine that you're playing a D chord on the 7th fret on the D string. So it feels like this at first. 7, 8, 7 on D, G, and B. And then with your little finger here, add in the 8 on the high E. Another way to look at this is to say it's kind of like a checkerboard, right? 7, 8, 7, 8. Might help you visualize that a little bit better. So top 4 string, 7, 8, 7, 8. Now for all this movement we're about to do, I'm going to be referring to what fret your first finger is on. So for example, you start off here at fret number 7 with that diminished chord shape. Take it down to 6, back up to 7, then you're going to go up a fret to 8. Then what you're going to do is to take this shape up to 9, back to 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now the first kind of 8, you know, strums is going to sound like this. I kind of think of it starting, going back a fret, walking up. Starting, going back a fret, walking up. Start, back, walk, up. Start, back, walk, up. And then the rest of the way here is just going to be straight up. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? So weird, and like I said, you totally can't hear it in the mix. Pretty awesome though. Adds a really cool, spooky, kind of chaotic quality to the ending of that section. So there you go guys, 5 dope licks that I never knew existed in this awesome song. Again, that's a really cool thing about listening to these isolated tracks, is you can take a song that you've heard a million times, and it's like hearing it again for the first time when you're hearing just what that one guitar player is doing over on his side of the audio. I'd like to do another lesson video like this sometime on Izzy's parts too, because there's a lot of things in his tracks that I had never noticed before, especially like behind the guitar solo. His rhythm part is so loose and haphazard. It's got a lot of really cool stuff on there. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see another video like this about the stuff Izzy was doing. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for new lessons every single doggone week. Follow me on Instagram at BenEllerGuitars or on my Facebook fan page at facebook.com/UncleBenEller. And if you're interested in booking some one-on-one Skype lessons with me, be sure to drop me an email, BenEllerGuitars@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching. Now get away from this computer, go play that guitar. Less clicking, more picking.